Today we are talking about exercising with lung disease. My name is Catherine. I'm an exercise physiologist with cardiac and pulmonary rehab. So I want to address first the difference between physical activity and exercise, because in this slideshow we'll be talking specifically about exercise. Now, physical activity is any bodily movement produced by skeletal muscles that results in energy expenditure. So this can be chores, gardening, grocery shopping, day-to-day stuff, just moving around in general. That's physical activity. And we want to be physically active, because if we're not physically active, then we're doing too much sitting. But that kind of general movement does not count as exercise. Exercise is planned, structured, repetitive bodily movement intended to improve or maintain one or more components of physical fitness. So going for a walk, bike ride, lifting weights, that kind of thing. An example, we will sometimes ask our patients, what kind of exercise did you do over the weekend? And they'll tell us they went grocery shopping. And grocery shopping is great physical activity. You are on your feet for a while, but it's very stop and go. Now, if you go to the grocery store when it's snowing out and you just use the lanes to do laps or pace and go specifically with the intent of just walking for 15 minutes, then that's different. That is intentional, planned, structured, repetitive bodily movement. That is exercise. But just going for your groceries and stop and go, talking to people, that's physical activity. Still, like I said, want to be physically active, but you want to include planned exercise as well. And we'll kind of be talking about how to set up a good exercise routine. I think this is a fun little cartoon. Basically just saying not all movement is exercise, unfortunately. Just because we're moving around doesn't mean we're exercising. These are the 4 types of exercise we'll be addressing today: cardiovascular, strength, flexibility, and balance exercises. Question being, do I have to do all 4 types? The answer is yes. Having a well-rounded exercise program will include all 4 of those types of exercise. And it is really important to keep each component in balance with the next, because being in balance with each 4 components means that you'll probably be able to excel at each 4 component better. So, for example, balance exercises take some amount of strength. So you need to have a little bit of muscular strength already and practice your resistance exercises to excel at some of those balance exercises. And there are other examples of this as well. How much exercise for how long? So to answer this question, we use the FIT principle, and we will be showing you the FIT principle for every type of exercise. FIT, F-I-T-T, stands for frequency, intensity, time, and of course type. To address intensity, this is the scale that we typically use in cardiac and pulmonary rehab: rate of perceived exertion, or RPE. This starts at a 0 to 10 scale, 0 being sitting on your couch doing nothing, 10, if you've ever taken a stress test before, you know that that's what they want you to get to, the very maximal heart rate or VO2 max that you can. For pulmonary rehab and for your exercise at home, especially if you're just starting out, you really should just be aiming for a moderate pace. So maybe somewhere between 2 and 4, 2 and 5, somewhere in there, kind of depending on what your experience level with exercise is a good place to start. Outside of that is probably pushing it too hard until you get to be more experienced with the exercise that you're doing. So just remember a moderate pace for the first couple of weeks that you're starting exercise. If you're just starting out, or if you are just returning to exercise, I should say. Rate of perceived dyspnea is also another thing that we take into consideration, or your shortness of breath. So this is a 0 to 10 scale of shortness of breath as well. And similar to RPE, on this scale, we really don't want you in these high 7 to 10 numbers, especially for the first couple weeks. And even past that, we don't want you severely short of breath because you want to be able to maintain the intensity that you have prescribed for yourself or someone else has prescribed for you. And if you can't maintain that intensity for 10 minutes or 15 minutes or whatever it is, then it's not really something that you need to be pushing yourself to the severe shortness of breath and be doing that hard. If you do ever get to the 10, that severe shortness of breath, really can't catch your breath, of course stop exercising. If you're feeling like that and you've been resting for a while, it is time to go into the emergency department. So this is a scale that is helpful, I think, for you to use at home as well to check in with yourself. Think about and be mindful of what your shortness of breath is like on each piece of equipment or on your walks or bike rides, whatever you like to do at home. And this is also something that we ask about at pulmonary rehab as well. All right, so the first kind of exercise we'll be talking about is cardiovascular. Cardiovascular consists of any aerobic exercises that will increase your heart rate and respiration rate for a prolonged amount of time. So some examples: going for a walk, going for a swim, setting a time for yourself is a good idea. And prolonged amount of time doesn't mean that you can't take breaks if you need to. If you're someone who's just new to exercise, you might need to take a couple of breaks. And if shortness of breath is something that's a problem for you, again, it's important that you do take a break, collect your breath, maybe reset your limit or, your level on machine or whatever it may be, and then continue on with that exercise. So the FIT principle for cardiovascular exercise: frequency, most days of the week. It's suggested that adults get about 150 minutes of aerobic exercise every single week. And that might not be attainable for everybody right away. So 150 minutes broken down, 30 minutes 5 times a week. And so some people might need to start out with 10 or 15 minutes 5 times a week and gradually add on from there. At pulmonary rehab, we get about 45 minutes per session. So if you're coming 2 times a week, there's 90 minutes there. And then that's where we, of course, encourage some additional home exercise. So 2 to 4 days at home on your own. And that can be something that you work towards. Again, you want to gradually add on and gradually set goals for yourself. Exertion level or intensity, keeping it at that moderate pace, something that you can do continuously. If you set a goal of 15 minutes for yourself, don't push yourself so hard that you make that goal really hard to reach. Go at a moderate pace that you can continue on with and maybe don't get too short of breath. And again, if you need to take breaks or slow down, that is okay. Some benefits of cardiovascular exercise: an increase in maximal oxygen uptake, or your VO2 max. An increase in maximal stroke volume, and your stroke volume is the amount of blood pumped out with every heartbeat. Your maximal cardiac output, which relates to stroke volume, that is how much blood is pumped every minute, and the equation to get that is your stroke volume times your heart rate. And that's just, if you're getting more blood pumped out, then you're getting more oxygenation throughout your body. An increased capillary density in skeletal muscles, and that increased capillary density allows more oxygenation of those skeletal muscles. Lower heart rate and blood pressure are also benefits of regular aerobic or cardiovascular exercise. So you might start to notice if you take your blood pressure in the morning every day that it's getting better, it's getting more regular. Or maybe your heart rate's a little bit lower. Or maybe your heart rate doesn't quite spike as high while you're exercising as it did for the first couple sessions that you started out. So those are some things that you might start to see change if you're being really consistent and regular with your exercise, your aerobic exercise. Unfortunately, exercise cannot cure or reverse your COPD, but it can help improve your exercise capacity, your lung efficiency, It can help improve your quality of life and increase your energy level, as well as hopefully for a lot of people it can decrease stress levels. We'll talk about that more a little bit later too. So strength training is the next type of exercise to go over. And strength training comes from overloading your muscles. So increase the resistance, frequency, or duration of a movement, and you will increase muscular strength and endurance. And by increasing muscular strength and endurance, a lot of times you can also see an improved metabolism. Some people forget to breathe while they're doing some of these strength training or these resistance training exercises. So when you're lifting weights, it's not uncommon for people to hold their breath a little bit. So it's really important when you're lifting weights or using resistance bands to focus on that breath and breathe out or exhale on the hardest part of your exercise, inhale on the more relaxed part of the exercise. So if you were to do a bicep curl, you would exhale as you curl up and inhale on the way down. But really important to focus on that breath while you are strength training and take your time. So the FIT principle for strength training: frequency 2 to 3 days a week. It's important when you're doing resistance training to give a day in between to let your muscles repair and rest a little bit. Intensity is the same, light to moderate. It is always better to start with a lighter weight and maybe not feel it as much than start with something too heavy and injure yourself. And you also want to be able to really keep good form. If you're using a heavy weight that isn't allowing you to have good form, you need to go down a weight. Time. So like I was saying, taking your time with resistance exercises is important because you don't really need to be doing these resistance exercises for time. So you can focus on sets or repetitions, and a good goal would be 1 to 2 sets of 10 to 15 repetitions. If you start out only being able to do 10 repetitions of a couple different exercises, so that is okay. You can make a goal for yourself to, go to 12 the next week, and then 15 the next week, and so on, and then adding on another set as you get more and more physically fit. And at least one exercise for each major muscle group. Major muscle groups being your legs, your core, upper arms, back, all of those good ones. Strength training is important. I kind of addressed strength, size and strength of muscles that can increase that metabolism. It's really important, though, to help you maintain your ability to do activities of daily living and maintain your independence. You want to be strong enough to carry groceries from your car to inside the house, or if you need to move a couple things out of the way to get to something in your home. And even just getting yourself up, you want to make sure that you're strong enough to get yourself up and out of chairs and everything like that. And strength training exercises, doing those regularly, can help you keep that independence. Strengthening your tendons and ligaments and bones is also really important and improves your balance. I talked about that a little bit already. You need a little bit of strength to have some good balance. Strength training can also reduce stress and anxiety, and for a lot of people, exercise in general is a good way for them to take their mind off of something, to give themselves a little break, and feel better. The next type of exercise we're talking about is flexibility. And that is moving the muscles slowly through the full range of motion. And flexibility, sometimes we tend to blow past. People don't always take the time to stretch after every single exercise session, and it's really important. You want to maintain that flexibility. When you are stretching or doing flexibility exercises, you don't want to bounce or pulse. You want to go down slowly to the point where you feel a mild discomfort and hold there. Again, just mild discomfort, no sharp pain. Maintaining range of motion can help you reduce injury and again can help you maintain the ability to perform your normal daily living activities and continue to stay independent. The FIT principle for flexibility, frequency, 2 to 3 days a week at a minimum, but there's really no maximum. You could do a stretch session 7 days a week if you wanted to, and that wouldn't hurt you. Again, as long as you're going by this intensity here, stretching and holding to the point where you feel some discomfort, maybe mild discomfort, but again, no sharp pain. And time, you want to hold each stretch for 10 to 30 seconds. And again, aiming for the major muscle groups, your upper body, your legs, a couple different stretches for each, some core, some back stretches. And you'll get the most benefit from holding closer to 30 seconds. 10 seconds is a little bit quick, but sometimes that's all you have time for, and that's okay if you can at least get in a couple stretches after your exercise sessions. All right, the next type of exercise is balance. And balance will help your body adapt to different positions which require balance. It also involves the strengthening of postural muscles. So those can be your stabilizing muscles in your core, back, lower body. And again, which is why it's really important to continue to do those resistance exercises in those areas of your body so that you can challenge your balance more easily. Balance exercises are really important to help prevent falls, and falls are the leading cause of hospitalization among older adults. Injuries from a fall can result in a loss of independence and reduced quality of life. And so again, that's why exercise, we say, can help you improve your quality of life, because if you can stay strong and you can maintain some balance, you hopefully will be able to, if you can get off balance, you'll be able to catch yourself. You'll have the strength to do that, and you'll have that strength to maintain your independence, which is really important. So FIT principle for balance, frequency 2 to 3 days a week. Often people will do this in conjunction with strength training because they kind of do mesh together so much. Intensity, and this is really going to change based on every single person. So know your own personal limitations. Do not push your balance limitations. And it's also something that you should be challenging while you have somebody around you. So gradual progress from holding on to something with your hand while you're doing balance exercises, so maybe even holding onto a chair, a solid table, a wall with your whole hand, progressing gradually to doing those exercises just with one finger kind of touching the hand to no hands. And of course, spotter is recommended. Just have somebody there that can help you out, give you a hand if you kind of start to lose your balance, get a little wobbly when you're doing some of these exercises that really do challenge that balance. In time, there's not really a specific time that's suggested. Probably a couple minutes if you're going to do it in conjunction with your strength training exercises. Do a couple minutes at the end of your strength training sessions. But however long, and yoga is a whole group of exercise that's dedicated to a lot of balance and stabilizing muscles. And there are sessions that last 40 minutes to an hour for yoga. So it's up to you, up to your level of comfort with it. Again, make sure you are acknowledging your limitations and you're not pushing it, because injuring yourself will only set you back. So, benefits of exercise altogether, not just aerobic exercise. We talked about that decrease in blood pressure. It can also improve your cholesterol levels. So, improved HDL levels, that's your good cholesterol. You want to see that increase, and exercise can do that for you. It can also decrease the bad cholesterol, your LDL levels. It can help you control your blood sugar. It promotes weight loss and improved body composition. Might start to see a little bit more muscle mass and a little bit less body fat. Group exercise. Group exercise specifically offers the opportunity to meet and socialize with peers. And socialization is really important just for our mental health. And that again goes back to improving our quality of life, having those people to socialize with and people who are kind of in the same boat as you, especially here at pulmonary rehab. Improve capacity to perform activities of daily living. That one keeps coming back, but it is really important. All these different types of exercises have their own benefits that will hopefully allow your body to function more efficiently, help you feel better mentally as well, because of, like we were talking about, it can reduce stress, can improve sleep, improve anxiety sometimes. Some people really like some of the meditative yoga things, yoga classes, and that's really good to help, one, focus on your breath, especially for our pulmonary patients. That's something that you can do, even just breathing exercises that can help lower your stress level and your anxiety, doing those breathing exercises. But yoga and Tai Chi are some balance, promotive, stress reduction exercises that can be really good. But so we want all of these things, and making sure that you have a good exercise routine and beginning to build one is what we really want to promote. So this is just an example. Sometimes it's helpful for people to write out what their exercise routine is going to look like for the week. It can help you keep yourself more accountable. Not everyone's the same, but sometimes that is helpful. As you can see, you got 30 to 60 minutes of aerobic exercise 5 times a week. So that person, whoever's exercise routine this is, would certainly be hitting 150 minutes of aerobic exercise. They're doing strength training twice a week, resistance bands on one day, dumbbells on another day. And they're doing balance exercises 4 times that week, but twice in conjunction with their strength exercises. And flexibility 3 times a week. I would also end it, especially on the Monday after their balance exercises and resistance. It would be a good idea to do a little bit of stretching after that. So this is just an example. You can use it to model maybe your own after. You can change whatever you want. Just something to start thinking about. So special considerations for exercise. Warm-ups and cool-downs are really, really important. Doing 3 to 5 minutes, starting at just a slower pace or ending at a slower pace, would work as a warm-up and a cool-down. You'll also, if you're attending pulmonary rehab, we'll see us doing some different types of warm-up exercises, whether those are seated or standing, and you can imitate those as well while you're home. And cooling down, so like I said, reducing your speed or your intensity for the last couple minutes, and then doing a little bit of stretching. That flexibility is something people want to get their workout over real quick, but it's really important to stop and do a little bit of a couple minutes of cool down, bring your heart rate, your respiratory rate down, and then stretch out a little bit so that you don't end up injuring yourself. Avoiding high heat and humidity is important. So right now, it's really hot out. Try doing your exercise if you're going to be outside in the morning or the evening, or just other regular physical activity if you have gardening or something. Maybe avoid being out in the middle of the day. Avoiding extreme cold and wind chill. I gave an example of people going to the store, a big department store or something like that, and just doing laps for 15 minutes to get their aerobic exercise in. Because sometimes in the winters here, it's just not a good idea to go outside and do exercise. It's not worth it. Dress in light, breathable clothing while you're exercising. And another part of that is make sure that you have good exercising shoes, comfortable, and have a closed heel and closed toe. Because a closed heel and a closed toe reduce your risk of tripping, and again, reduce your risk of injury. Drinking plenty of water is really important. If you are on a fluid restriction, make sure that you talk to your doctor about that. But if you're not, Make sure that you maintain that hydration. Keep drinking water. Sometimes you're going to need to drink more water on the days that you're exercising that you normally would. Beware of exercise at high altitudes. We're at a pretty high altitude here, but if you're going anywhere else, if you go hiking with your family or something like that, make sure you're really paying attention to what your body needs. Slow down your pace if you need to. If you're getting too high up and you're getting too short of breath, just avoid exercise at super high altitudes at that point. And try using the FIT principle that we've talked about to set some small attainable goals and track your progress along the way. You can change each element of that FIT principle and just change it a little bit to make those goals fit your own personal needs. So that is a really good way and a really good tool to start setting goals for yourself and hopefully have some contribute to your motivation for exercise. And that is everything. That is exercising with lung disease. If you have any questions, please let the cardiac rehab staff know, or excuse me, the pulmonary rehab staff know, or give us a call. We'd be happy to answer any questions that you might have. Thank you so much.